Want me to turn it down? I'm mad at Chip. I'm going to turn it down. I am now. I probably will.
These chairs just don't work well for me. No, it's just a fundamental disagreement I've had with the chairs ever since the beginning. So for me, it's like all the chairs. Cause see how the arms like hit the drawer, right?
Can't rotate it.
When I'm at home, I sit all the way up when I'm at home. So when I'm here, I'm always like, you can't sit like this. Okay. The chair and I have issues. It's fine. We're fine.
Welcome to the April 4th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I am calling, it's April 18th, excuse me. I am calling this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please rise for our invocation and our pledge allegiance to the flag to be led by our City Attorney, Tom Trask.
Our Heavenly Father, we gathered today with members of our community with a shared belief that we must treat each other with dignity and respect. In this invocation, I don't ask you to bow your heads, but to look up at what you can accomplish by working together. I don't ask you to close your eyes, but keep them wide open to the problems that we face as a city. With your talents and insight, you can lead this community to a better future. As you work together on behalf of all who live in this city, may you draw strength and encouragement from one another through compassion and reason. In this we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That wonderful prayer. One quick announcement I'd like to make. Please refrain from any personal attacks towards any city charter official, city employee, or council members. We are a team of one. We are working together to improve our city. Please direct all comments to me, the mayor. And with that, I am going to open up the Oldsmar Public Open Forum, and each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject but items 10 and 11 on the agenda. You will be able to speak at that time. Please state your name and your address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30. Anybody on this side would like to come and speak to the council, come on up. Well, that was easy. All right, anybody on this side of the room would like to come to speak to the council? Vince, come on up.
Vince Albanese, 404 Jefferson. I'm here tonight, though, on behalf of the Oldsmar Neighborhood Association. So first, I would like to say that we're having another meeting at the Tico Hall on the 26th of April. That's a Wednesday evening, starts at 6:30. In quoting Tom tonight, in being able to look up and look out, we have very exciting projects underway today, paint the pavement in cooperation with our city manager and things like that, the walking school bus program and getting kids to school safely. And I would like to recognize Eliza here for her little project, which involves rewarding our our youth for getting to school. So Eliza, you can tell us what you've accomplished.
Hello, my name is Eliza Doherty. I live at 301 Park Boulevard, Oldsmar. I want to update the City Council about the Oldsmar Elementary Mileage Club. As a reminder, my project will stock the school store so students can redeem their miles and shop. Students will be able to earn miles by walking to and from school or participating in the mileage club at school. I have met my fundraising goal of $1,000. Thank you to everyone who donated. I am working with Mr. Logan, principal at REO OES. Everyone to conduct a student survey to know what students know what they will want to see in the school school store.
Good job. Sorry, I'm Mom. And just as a little brag of my own, Eliza's going to be interviewed by Pinellas County Public Schools on Friday. So that link will be available on YouTube, and she's going to be talking about her project and her fundraising and how she wants everybody at school to participate in healthier walking and get outside. So we're really proud of her for sharing it with the whole county and not just Oldsmar. So thank you guys.
Good job, Eliza.
Okay, so we're focused on projects like that where we can get together and cooperate, and this is an event that she will never forget the rest of her life. So we appreciate everything that city has done, and Eliza's efforts there. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you, Vince.
Anyone else in this side of the room? Come on up, Doug. Oh, there we go.
You want to compare?
Yeah.
So Doug Beavis, 101 State Street West with the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. A couple of meetings ago, I believe Jerry Beaverland asked that the gavel be engraved with the previous mayor, starting with his second term, because that's when I believe the gavel was presented. So the chamber stepped forward and did that, and what we'd like to, and we think it should stay in here somewhere. I don't know if you hang it like a guitar on the wall or something, but I think it should stay in here and under the desk. But if you'd like to look at it and
Thank you,
check it out
Doug.
and share
Wow.
with the council. I think-
Wonderful. That was very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug. All right, anybody else in the side of the room would like to speak to the council? Anybody in the room? All right, Suda, you want to come up?
Hello, Mayor, Council, staff, community. Today, my hat is Mary Poppins. I'm Sudayantis Cologne, 402 Arlington Avenue East in our wonderful town of Oldsmar. And if you haven't heard yet, we have a fantastic something special coming up this weekend. And if I can cue up my music properly and my team to open their doors, team. I will start them off. Big circle. Now, I know they have a big performance this weekend, and believe me, they are a lot more peppier, active, dancing that whole song out, but this is one of their first times besides Second Friday coming in and sharing that, so that was a little quiet for you guys. What happened to all the expialidocious? That's okay. I would like, what's that? Do it again. Well, that's the parents. They're a little biased. What's that? Do we have enough time? Okay, right there. Where we are. Come on, do it out. Let me make sure I got the right song on. You see why I said they were a little subdued from the normal time. So great job. And I'm going to do a quick little invite, first of all, to, hang on just a second for me, to Miss Madison, who plays our Mary Poppins, and Mr. Eric, who plays our Bert. Could you two come around to this side for me? They have a little something they'd like to share.
Hey, Mary, what are you doing this Saturday?
I'm dancing with my friends at the park.
At the park?
Yes, Bert.
What's happening at the park?
It's our Mary Poppins Junior play.
There's a play?
Yes, Bert. It's on April 22nd at 8 p.m.
Is it free?
Yes, Bert.
Is there food?
Yes, you can come and have dinner and watch a show.
Then I'll be there.
I can't do it better than them. So there is actually a little Facebook post that we did that very nonchalant. I gave them about 5 minutes to work up a script. They nailed it at the Second Friday Festival, and so we're using that for some of our publicity. And besides inviting everybody to come out to this great free show, we do have dinner with Uncle Dave's Kettle Corn and Pit Stop Barbecue. That opens at 7 o'clock. So if you see some of the 7 and 8 o'clocks, 7 o'clock our vendors open, 8 o'clock is our actual beginning of our show. We should conclude about 9:15, 9:30. And this is all at R.E. Olds Park, of course. You can find out more information at opaltheater.com or www.ofota.org. That is oldsmarfriendsofthearts.org. We are the ones that help in partnership with the city of Oldsmar to bring this great show to you. And we'd like to wrap up to see if we can invite council down for a quick photo op. Do we have enough time? Did I use up my 5 minutes?
The minute. Yeah.
Vice Mayor just created that.
Down in front of you. Tighter. Come here, Bubba. Baby. Down in front.
Maybe 2 layers.
Over here, buddy. Over here. Bubba, I know, it's a habit. It's a habit. There we go, you too. Gonna have to be a wide angle shot. All right, let's see if we can get them all in there. And I still have my phone here somewhere. Oh, look at Vice Mayor Buckman down there on his knees. Say a prayer for me, please.
All right, we got them all. There you go.
Wide angle, up above the dais. I got one too. Everybody good? Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, council. Huh? What? Oh, you need help getting up? We have postcards for you guys up at council, just to remind you, and for the audience. Go to council up there and just pass them around. I don't think Kristen's got one yet. Kathy may need one on this end. Some of council have received them already, but we have plenty. Thank you very much, everybody. And to get you out of here, I'm supposed to play something, ain't I? Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Here it goes. Give him a wave. Goodbye, goodbye, Governor. Goodbye, Governor.
We'll see you Saturday.
Thank you very much for your patience. We enjoyed coming today, and we hope to see you all there on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. We'll see you Saturday. All right, anyone else would like to speak to the council? Come on up.
As usual, Suda, that was wonderful. Linda Norris, 510 Oakwood Boulevard. I am here to set the record straight regarding some comments from the mayor made at the City Council work session on February 28th of this year on the subject of the budget for council member expenses. Mayor Saraki, before addressing your own overspending of the travel budget, you threw me under the bus regarding a conference I attended in 2015. Your own words were that you do not remember the details or the purpose of the trip. Quote, she went to D.C. for something, but she went to see President Obama, unquote. When Katie asked if that was the purpose, you said, I don't know what the purpose was. I don't recall. You even used former city Ann Clerk to further your distraction, saying that she was upset with me at the time. I'm upset. So now I will correct the record with facts. In March of 2015, I did indeed attend a conference in DC. It was called Focus 2015, and the Focus stood for a Forum of Communities for Urban Sustainability. It was a green conference. I was in my 6th year of my service on the council, and it was the first non-Florida League of Cities conference I attended. The Environmental Forum was just before the National League of City Conference, also in D.C. President Obama was indeed a speaker there, but I did not go to D.C. to see him. I went for the environment. As for your claim that Anne was upset about the expenses, flat out not true. I just had dinner with her Saturday and we discussed the matter. She's as upset as I am at the misrepresentation. And she told me that if protocol would have allowed, she would have corrected you during the work session. The work session on the current overspending, the current budget that is not enough to cover your expenses. But she said that she couldn't do that. The travel expense budget was never raised in all the years I was on council. This is the first time in my memory that it has been increased. And if I were on this council, I would have voted no. As for the benefits to the community, I appreciate Katie, I appreciate Jared. As for the benefits of the community, to link directly to the conferences and the environment, the educational things that we go to, I would just like to remind the council and the citizens of Oldsmar the green initiatives that occurred in the 8 years that I was on council. I was a member of the green team, and we achieved LEED certified green for the city of Oldsmar. That took us 2 years. Oldsmar was among the first 3 cities in the entire country to get EV charging station funding: Washington, D.C., Orlando, and little old Oldsmar. We were the first municipality in Pinellas County to get single stream recycling. We have a LEED certified RO plant. This building right here, LEED certified historic preservation. Second in the state, I think, I'm not sure. I don't want to say that for a fact. It's one of the first in the state. We have solar panels on the environmental building at Mobley Preserve, and we now have an annual tree program. So, now I am by no means saying that I'm responsible for all of that. But by having somebody on the council with a focus on the environment, it did shed light. If it weren't for councils, city managers, mayors, if it weren't for city staff, none of that would have happened. But I advocated for all of that. So there was a direct result of me attending an environmental conference. I can't believe how nervous I am. I'm not used to. Okay, so Mayor Saraki, you owe me an apology. I urge you to be more careful in your claims against others. Perhaps examine what really motivates you to go to so many conferences on the taxpayer's dime. Check your ego. And please tell us, what value and benefit do us citizens get for your expenditures? Perhaps reread section 3.04 of our city charter that says that you are supposed to meet budgets, not increase them. Okay, so that's all the fussing. Now I want to end on a positive note. I would like to express my honor, what an honor it has been to be on the team, or one of the citizens that was allowed input into the new city logo that you guys are all going to see today. It was a collaborative effort of citizens, Creative Pinellas, Barb, Mark, Deb Pauley. Everybody did so much work and did such a great job. So I just want to say they did a beautiful job. That's it.
Anyone else would like to speak to the council? With that, I will close the Oldsmar Public Open Forum. Our next item on the agenda is our community minute, which will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Annual Recycling Day is this Friday, April 21st, from 8 a.m. to noon at the Oldsmar Sports Complex. It's a free event for residents and businesses. There is a limit of 5 boxes for paper shredding, unlimited number for electronics and medications. Please enter via the Tampa Road entry. Movie in the Park is on Friday, April 21st at 7 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Park. There is a free showing of the movie Encanto. Bring blankets and chairs to enjoy a night under the stars. Golf cart parking available. Landscaping and Plant Care, Saturday, April 22nd, 2 p.m. at Tico Hall at the library. A special Earth Day program with local author, teacher, newspaper columnist, and television and radio host Stan DeFreitas, better known as Mr. Green Thumb, will discuss Florida horticulture and answer questions about lawn and garden care. Annual Hurricane Expo is on Saturday, May 6th, 10 a.m. to noon at Cypress Forest Recreation Center. The city of Oldsmar will host a Hurricane Expo to help residents and businesses prepare for a predictably busy hurricane season. The event is free and open to the public. Keynote speaker is Mike Boylan, Oldsmar resident, who runs Mike's weather page on social media.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Our next item is approval of additional new agenda items, which is 7, 12, 14, 17, and 18. I need a motion to approve.
So move.
A second?
Second.
Any other discussion on this item? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is awards and recognition, presentation of the business of the quarter for the first quarter of 2023, and I will be doing that. Test. All right. Dave, you want to come on up? So the business of the quarter winner, or of the decade, I'm going to say, is Dave from Hennessy's Bar and Grill right here in Oldsmar, and I wrote a little script here. Hennessy's was founded in 1990 by the late Ed Hennessy and partners. Eddie eventually became the sole proprietor in 2005. He partnered with his wife, Robin. Ed Hennessy partnered with David and Robin for 1 year. As Ed entered to retire, he sold the business to David and Robin. They continued to run Hennessy's in the original location on Forest Lakes Boulevard until 2017, when they moved to their current location on Tampa Road and St. Pete Drive. Hennessy's has always been known for its great food and live music on the weekends. It's almost like Oldsmar's version of Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Over the years, they have supported countless community events, including 14 annual chili cook-offs to benefit the Oldsmar Relay for Life. I have been lucky enough to be a judge. That's a lot of chili. They also donated 100 hot chicken wings for at least 6 Relay for Life events and hosted a cornhole tournament to raise money for the Cancer Society. Hennessy's has hosted many weddings, birthday parties, and celebrations of life over several years. They have supported the Oldsmar Chamber with providing a putt-putt golf hole-in-one event for their annual event every single year. Every year, for the past 31 years, they've offered a complete free turkey dinner with all the trimmings at Thanksgiving and Christmas, just to name a few. Over the past 6 months, Hennessy has redeveloped the patio area to make it an inviting outdoor environment. Hennessy's has created a new menu and are always looking for ways to make it better. To this day, Hennessy's is the oldest bar restaurant in the city of Oldsmar. Hennessy's has supported the Oldsmar community in many ways over decades and plans to continue to support our city in the future. With pride, I am honored to give Dave Walker the Oldsmar Business of the first quarter of 2023, and it should be Business of the Decade. Congratulations. Good job.
I appreciate the recognition. It's been wonderful to be in Oldsmar. And tonight is the Lightning playoff game at 7:30. Everybody's invited to come by and have a cocktail.
Dave, thank you so much. Congratulations. Good job. Thank you, David. Next item on our agenda is the Community Redevelopment Agency. Councilmember Buckman, do you have anything to disclose?
Thank you, Mayor. Disclosing I live in the CRA area, I'll be voting on these issues tonight. I've filed my disclosure form with the city clerk already.
All right, thank you. Next item is number 2, and Felicia Donnelly, will you handle that?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Item number 2 is to adopt Resolution 2023-05, revising fiscal year budget 22-23 budget for the Community Redevelopment Agency Fund. In the CRA, $535,000 has been requested for additional appropriations to replenish the funds that were used for the acquisition of 200 Exeter Street, approved by the council on February 7th, as well as a tentative purchase of 201 Jefferson Avenue South, which is submitted for city council consideration tonight. Building demolition and other costs associated with this purchase of these 2 properties will be covered in this budget amendment, utilizing the CRA fund reserves. Staff recommends approval. I will read the resolution in its entirety. Resolution 23-05, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022 and ending September 30th, 2023, authorizing the city manager and director of administrative services to revise the existing budget. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar has approved a municipal budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2022, ending September 30th, 2023, and whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar is desirous of amending this budget by revising various revenues and expenditures, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, the following revenues and expenditures be revised in the following manner based on the review of the budget. Section 1, the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida is hereby revised the existing budget for fiscal year 22-23 in accordance with Schedule A as attached. This resolution will take immediately effect upon passage.
Thank you. The recommended motion is adopt Resolution 2023-05, revisiting the fiscal year. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. Second.
Second?
Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.
Item number 3 is approve the purchase of the property in the CRA at 201 South Jefferson Street, Oldsmar, Florida. One of the main goals of the CRA is to revitalize urban areas and to address the physical, social, and economic problems associated with blight. Over the past 20 years, the city's acquired multiple properties within the CRA with the intent for redevelopment and revitalization of the town center consistent with the CRA plan. The property consists of approximately 0.19 acres and is adjacent to other city-owned parcels on the same block. Property increases the potential for the redevelopment of the entire Block 19 of the revised maps of Oldsmar to improve the entrance to the town center from State Road 580. The purchase price is supported by an appraisal completed on March 14th on behalf of the city. The appraisal placed the market value at $270,000. In addition to the purchase price, Oldsmar Cares has requested the following items from the structure. These include kitchen cabinets, countertops, light fixtures and housing, a water heater, 2 interior doors, and 4 doorknobs. I have executed the contract and the addendum on behalf of the city, contingent on approval of the council. The contract is currently in the due diligence period, and the city has procured an environmental site assessment for the site. The environmental site assessment was completed and yielded no adverse considerations. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Any other discussion on this item from anybody? Yes.
Just a quick comment. I wanted to thank the city manager for the vision of acquiring these properties with the kind of foresight of improving the entrance to State Street in our future downtown. I think it has a lot of opportunity to really set the scene moving forward. So thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else? Councilmember Gannon?
I was just going to add the vice mayor is correct, and in addition, it would make, hopefully, to the extent that some of the excess vegetation can be removed, it might also serve to make the entrance from, when you turn right off of 580 onto State Street, people are going, about 45 miles an hour onto a 25 mile an hour, road, and so it can be quite abrupt. So having a little bit of advanced visual kind of being able to see State Street a little bit better would be fantastic for safety purposes. So good job, Felicia.
Anything else? No?
I agree completely. I think, the vision of turn lane, slowing down the traffic to turn into the city. I think it's a great vision, and thank you so much for bringing this forward.
I second that. Congratulations on purchasing these properties. I can't wait to see it all gone and just visually see it. But thank you so much. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is to award a contract for professional services to GAI Consultants, Inc. for Step 1 and Step 2, the evaluation of the feasibility of an extension of the Oldsmar CRA under the same terms and conditions as the City of Cowee contract RFQ 21-006, PB 22-019. The city desires to determine the feasibility of extending the sunset date of the downtown CRA. The CRA was created in 1994 with the redevelopment plan adopted and the redevelopment trust fund created in 1996. The 1996 redevelopment plan focused on a 30-year period. Based on that redevelopment plan, the Oldsmar CRA term expires in 2026. Pinellas County has adopted and specifically defined process and methodologies for evaluating extensions of the term of any CRA within the county. The process and related methodologies will be the basis for determining the feasibility of extending the term of the CRA. GAI's proposals includes a 3-step approach to the process. The proposed scope provides a detailed scope of services for Step 1, $25,515, and Step 2, $21,025. A separate proposal for Step 3 will be provided after completion of the tasks associated with Step 1 and 2. Preliminary cost estimate for Step 3 would be approximately $40,000 to $50,000, depending on the outcomes of Steps 1 and 2. Step 3 would include the tasks associated with the preparation of a finding of necessity report, updated CRA plan, Pinellas County required CRA data, and GIS files showing the CRA boundaries. Staff recommends approval.
Okay. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I got a motion to second. Any other discussion? Councilmember Gannon?
Really quick, Felicia, are you able to just put in layman's terms, I mean, I could probably give it a shot at it, but for the edification of the public, why is it a good idea for us to extend the CRA? How does Oldsmar benefit from those additional tax dollars?
So I don't know if it's a good idea at this point.
That's true.
CRAs were created to combat blight in certain areas. And so depending on the findings from GAI, which is the feasibility study, there's a range of how much tax matching, so to speak, that you're eligible from Pinellas County. So right now, our CRA is at a 95% match, which means every dollar of ad valorem tax dollars that's in the CRA is matched at a 95% from the county, and it goes into the CRA fund. I don't know where that's going to come out, so if it's feasible, what the tax implications would be determined by the GAI, or with the help of GAI of their study, but our CRA has certainly been advantageous to this point at this current structure.
So Step 1 and 2 of the contract would help us figure out if it's feasible going forward.
Yeah, and if we should entertain a Step 3.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I hope that helps to clear.
It does. Anything else? Any other comments? All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda, thank you by doing that, by the way. Next item on the agenda is our consent docket. This will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Item 5, approve minutes of the April 4th, 2023 council meeting. Item 6, approve payment to legal counsel for March 2023 legal services. Item 7, approve payment of March 2023 legal services to Bartlett, Loeb, Hens, and Thompson, PLLC, for Eric Seidel's litigation defense. Item 8, award contract 2023-001 RFQ Stormwater Master Plan to Jones, Edmonds, and Associates, Inc., for a cost not to exceed $499,834.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to pull anything from the consent agenda? With that, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion, second.
Second.
I have a motion in the second. Any other discussion on any of the items? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. City of Oldsmar, Vice Mayor Andrew Knapp, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello. Good evening. I'll be presenting proclamation for National Library Week. Whereas libraries provide the opportunity for all members of the community to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to live their best life. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all. And whereas libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals. And whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now, therefore, I, Andrew Knapp, Vice Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, on behalf of Dan Saraki, Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, do hereby proclaim the week of April 23rd through 29th, 2023, as National Library Week in the City of Oldsmar, and encourage all residents to visit their library to explore the wealth of resources available, dated this 18th day of April, 2023. And with that, I would like to invite Library Director Susan Hurley up to accept the proclamation, and then she'll be giving a presentation.
All right, thank you. Yes, I just have a short presentation for you for National Library Week. It was started in 1958 by the American Library Association, along with American book publishers. Their goals at the time were to encourage people to read in their increasing leisure time, to improve incomes and health, and to develop a strong and happy family life. The theme back then was wake up and read. But now 65 years later, and things have changed a little bit. Our library services have expanded, and the theme this year is to highlight that, and the theme is there's more to the story. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of things that we have at the library that some people may not be aware about that go beyond just the books that we have to check out. So alongside our books, we have our collection of board games and jigsaw puzzles. We have our museum passes that will give you passes to get into several area museums for free. We have our Playaway launch pads, which are preloaded tablets for younger children that have preloaded games and educational materials on them. And we also have our Wi-Fi hotspots that are available to check out for a week at a time. We have our programs, our highly popular children's programs, our story times with Mr. Anthony. We have several each week for toddlers and preschoolers. We also have a new weekly baby sign language program and a brand new Puppy Pals reading program. We also have our programs like the one we had last month on the right there with Farmer Miner and Daisy the pot-bellied pig. You can see her in the chair with her tongue sticking out if you can see the picture. But that Pig Out on Reading program was last month. We also have our activities, which are really popular. One of the things we started in 2020 was a take and make craft program. We still do that because it was so popular. There's some of those on the left. And we have our Lego Club, which is every month. And these are just a few of the examples of what's been made. We have a gallery on our Facebook page that gets updated after every program. And some of the things that the kids are building are just absolutely amazing. We also have more programs coming in the summer for summer reading, obviously, so you can check out our website as we get closer to June, and you can see everything that we have planned for that. We also have, we also function as a community center. One of our popular exhibits, we have a rotating art exhibit that gets changed out every 3 months. We also have our bulletin board on the right there, and it's made up of every month we have little crafts that kids can take home and come in and decorate, and then they return it, and we use it for decoration in the library every month. We also have our local author night that we had last month. That was very popular. We had over 20 published local authors at the library, and our ice cream social, which was very popular. That was back in February. We had over 200 people show up for free ice cream, go figure. Also, I'm going to plug again our program that we have this Saturday with Stan DeFreitas. Come out and check him out for Earth Day. He'll be giving a talk at the library. So I just wanted to thank you all for the proclamation, and I encourage everyone to come out and check out what we have at the library. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Great job. All right, next item on the agenda is City Attorney Tom Trask.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 10 on the agenda is the public hearing for the second reading of Ordinance 2023-03. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2023-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Section 2.1 of Article 2 definitions of Part 3 of the city's Land Development Code to revise the definition of portable sign, making related findings, providing for codification, severability, and for an effective date. This ordinance was passed on its first reading on April 4th. There have been no changes to the ordinance, and it is here for your consideration and approval.
Thank you, Tom. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak for or against this item, please come up. With that, I'm going to close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve. Second. Any discussion on this item? Roll call, please.
Graber?
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp?
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon?
Yes.
Mayor Siraki?
Yes.
The second reading of Ordinance 2023-03, amending Section 2.1 of Article 2 of Part 3 of the city's Land Development Code to revise the definition of portable sign is adopted with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you very much. Next item?
Item number 11 is the public hearing for conditional use application CU 23-01 to allow one horse on the residential property for personal use in the E1 Estate Residential District. This is quasi-judicial, so I'm going to read the quasi-judicial procedures that we're going to use tonight. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the city council members act in a quasi-judicial rather than a legislative capacity. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the council's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In this quasi-judicial hearing, the council is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The council may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at this hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the council is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the council is required by law to find against the applicant. I at this time would ask the council members if there are any ex parte communications or conflicts of interest that needed to be disclosed. Seeing none. Anyone that's going to speak tonight at this hearing, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand. I'm going to swear you under oath. Anyone that's going to speak at this agenda item. You swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. So we'll have city staff make the presentation first.
Hello, Tatiana Childress, City of Oldsmar Planning and Redevelopment Director. So this is CU 2301, Conditional Use Request in Estate Residential District. The request is for conditional use to allow one horse at 1011 State Street East for personal use in the E1 Estate Residential Zoning District. Per section 5.4.1.3.7, conditional uses in the E1 permit horses under the condition that it's only one animal per acre. The property is 1.1 acre in size and therefore meets the size requirements for conditional use consideration. In addition, the conditional use request was reviewed against the 12 standards outlined in section 3.12.8 of the Land Development Code. The first condition is the requested use is compatible with the existing natural environment of the site and with properties in the neighborhood, as is further reflected in the land use plan. The property is located on the corner of Racetrack Road and State Street in the E1 Estate Residential District. This property is surrounded by larger estate residential properties. Estate Residential District is established to provide very low density, large lot residential development in a rural setting. According to the Land Development Code, a rural atmosphere is to be maintained in this district. As demonstrated on this slide, these are the surrounding properties of the subject property. There's no significant potential detrimental effects arising from the use on property values in the neighborhood. The property is a corner lot, and Racetrack Road serves as a dividing boundary between the corporate limits of Oldsmar and unincorporated Hillsborough County. The neighborhood properties across the Racetrack Road in Hillsborough County also display the characteristics of low-density residential and agricultural uses as displayed on these pictures. There's adequate provisions for water supply and for sanitary sewer and sewage treatment. And the water supply and sanitary sewers and treatment are adequate here. There's adequate provisions for public facilities such as schools, parks, and utilities within the service area involved. And the proposed use will not overload such existing facilities. These public facilities are adequate in the area and are not affected by the proposed use. There's adequate provisions for traffic movement, both vehicular and pedestrian, both internal to the use and in the area which will serve the use. There's adequate provisions for vehicular traffic movement to the site to support the requested use, but this area currently lacks sidewalks for pedestrian movement. However, the requested use is not affected by this, since per section 558.5 of the code, riding or walking, it shall be unlawful for any person to ride or walk horses, mules, or donkeys upon city streets, sidewalks, or right-of-way. Carriages, cars, wagons, or buggies, it shall be unlawful for any persons to drive carriages, carts, wagons, or buggies drawn by horses, mules, or donkeys upon city streets, sidewalks, and right-of-ways. So any transportation of a horse to and from the subject property shall be done in a specially equipped trailer. There are adequate drainage systems to serve the use, with particular attention to the necessity for on-site retention system to alleviate drainage and pollution problems. The drainage system is adequate and is not anticipated to be affected by this use. The property shall be maintained in a neat and sanitary manner, free from the manure accumulation. There are adequate setbacks, buffering, and general amenities in controlling the adverse effects of noise, light, dust, fumes, and other nuisances. The code requires a 5-foot minimum setback for accessory structures in residentially zoned district. In addition, the applicant recently installed a fenced area on the property for grazing, and the applicant is responsible to upkeep the property and also to properly dispose of any of the horse manure accumulation. The land area for the proposed use is sufficient and appropriate and adequate for the use and is reasonable in its reasonably anticipated operation and expansion thereof. The property is a corner lot and is slightly over 1 acre in size. The use is compatible with the desired growth and land use pattern reflected in the city's comprehensive plan. This conditional use is consistent and compatible with the Oldsmar comprehensive plan. The land use category for the subject property is RE, residential estate. It is the purpose of this category to depict those areas of the city that are now developed or appropriate to be developed in a large lot, very low density residential manner, and to recognize such area as primarily well suited for estate residential and agricultural uses. that are consistent with the suburban, non-intensive qualities and natural resource characteristics of such area. There's a reasonable need for such facilities at the site. Allowing a horse in the state residential district is consistent with the district regulations, and the proposed use will comply with all appropriate regulations for the district in which it is to be located. The proposed use will comply with all of the appropriate district regulations of the E1 estate residential. The proposed use will not adversely affect the health, safety of the public and the workers or residents in the area, and will not be detrimental to the use or development of adjacent properties or of the general neighborhood. So the horse will be kept in a secure environment on site. The subject property is very private due to its location on the corner lot on the border of unincorporated Hillsborough and city of Oldsmar. In this picture, it's not very clear, but it demonstrates where the horse will be kept on site. So based on the above discussion, staff recommends approval of the conditional use request to allow one horse at 1011 State Street East for personal use in the E1 Estate Residential District with the following conditions. The requested use shall comply with the following maintenance and operational standards. Order and vector control. All enclosures, including but not limited to barns, stalls, and feeding areas, shall be maintained free from litter, garbage, and the accumulation of manure, so as to discourage the proliferation of flies, other disease vectors, and offensive odors. Manure shall be also not to be allowed to accumulate. The property site shall be maintained in a neat and sanitary manner. Second condition is the containment. The horse shall be effectively contained on site and shall not be allowed to run free off the parcel or in the public right of way. And the third condition is erosion and sedimentation control. In no case shall the horse keeping operation be managed or maintained so as to produce sedimentation or any public road, adjoining property, or any drainage channel or other waterway. In the event sedimentation occurs, the keeping of animals outdoors on the site shall be deemed a nuisance and may be subject to abatement. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much.
Do you wish for your report to be received into evidence?
Yes, we would like to submit the report into the evidence. Yes.
Thank you. Any questions from the council members?
Questions? No?
No questions. Okay, are you Mr. Blanchard? Yes. Sir, do you have any questions of the city staff? You'll have your opportunity to present. Now is the time to ask questions. Do you have questions of her, of Tatiana?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other witnesses the city is going to call, Tatiana? Just you?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, Mr. Blanchard, is now your opportunity to step forward and make your presentation to the council.
I thought hers was perfect.
Makes it easy.
Best $600 ever spent. I've been living in Oldsmar for same house for the last 22 years. We've raised kids, we got grandkids, we even got a younger daughter now. And they like to ride the horse. So it's just something been our goal since ever we bought it. When we first moved in, a lot of people had horses around us on the Oldsmar side. And then everybody wanted to build big fancy houses and put all kinds of other things on their lots, and nobody cared about the agricultural section of it. So it's always been our plan. We appreciate you listening to us. And man, I got to get a copy of that. I mean, that was pretty good. We just want to let us have a horse, you know.
Okay.
I mean, we're probably the only horse in Oldsmar. Maybe get a proclamation on that or something. But thank you.
One horse down.
Hold on a second, Mr. Blanchard. Hang on just a second.
Yep.
Any questions for the applicant?
Councilmember Gannon?
Thank you. I saw that there were 3 conditions. I just wanted to make sure that you understood those 3 conditions to providing this conditional use. And of course, one of them is part of recognition that the code does not allow for walking or riding the horse on city streets.
Yeah.
And it came up a couple of years ago. It was a thing.
I think it's
Some of us
dangerous to ride
remember.
the horses on the street anyways. They get spooked too easy. So.
Okay.
But if you're not aware of the equestrian community,
Yeah.
there are literally hundreds of places in Florida that we trailer them to.
Yeah, I've
And
heard that.
that are owned by the state. I mean, so it's not an issue. We got a trailer. It's also a camper, so we all go in and we take the horse down and ride the trails, stay for the weekend, and that's about it. And they're like big dogs too. I mean, they'll follow you around. They're not, they are. They're just giant dogs. They want to be loved on. They like companionship, and feel free to stop by.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? No? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now's the opportunity for the public to step forward. Anybody from the public want to speak on this application? Okay, Mayor, there's no, okay, Mrs. Wright, step forward. I need to go ahead and swear you under oath. If you raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you're about to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Certainly.
Okay.
Thank you. Babe Wright, I live right across the street from Jason, and I think it's a wonderful idea. If I wasn't so old, I'd probably be down here myself. A place to put my horse, but I think it's great. They're good neighbors.
Good.
Thank you, babe.
Anyone else? Anyone else that wants to speak on this application?
Okay, I am going to close the public hearing. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Great presentation. I need a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
A second. Any other discussion on this item?
I'm sorry, I just had to say the one horse town thing. Just-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we use that on our city logo?
I just want to make sure that the motion is move approval of staff recommendation with the conditions that were raised in the staff memo.
My motion is to move for approval of the conditional use with the 3 separate additional conditions as outlined by staff in her presentation.
Okay.
Okay.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Buckman,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Conditional use application CU 2301 to allow one horse on the residential property for personal use in the E1 Estate Residential is approved with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Wonderful. I'm coming out to see it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is item 12.
Thank you, Mayor. This is item number 12, adopt resolution 2023-06, approving the Pinellas County Vulnerability Assessment as a planning tool. You'll remember that on the April 4th meeting, you asked me to prepare a draft resolution for your consideration and possible approval. I'll go ahead and read that resolution by title only. Resolution 2023-06, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the Pinellas County Sea Level Rise and Storm Surge Vulnerability Assessment as a planning tool and providing for an effective date hereof. There was a reading of resolution 2023-06 by title only.
All right, thank you. Do we have any type of presentation on this, or no? All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 13 will be handled by our city manager, Felicia Donnelly.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 13 is the presentation of the new city logo design for the city's branding effort. I would like to invite Deb Fitrelli to the podium to give a presentation, but before she starts, I would like to extend thanks to Deb and her team for working diligently for the last year. And Barbara St. Clair from Creative Pinellas and the citizens who participated in the branding process.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. On behalf of the staff of Communications, Marketing, and the Arts, it is an honor to be presenting to you tonight, I might cry, I'm not kidding you, a new city logo for your consideration. The process has been tedious as team members have worked hard over the past year to develop a concept based on the brand promise developed by the focus group. Thank you to those members for providing their time and insight on the Oldsmar community. I'd like to take this moment to thank our next presenter, Barbara St. Clair, CEO of Creative Pinellas, for the direction and insight she has so generously provided to the city in creating what you will see momentarily. We have been very fortunate to have someone with her professional background to serve as a guiding light through our branding process. Please join me in thanking Barbara and welcoming her to the podium to present the balance of the branding presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
for letting me be here and letting me participate in this process. I have a very special place in my heart for the city of Oldsmar. You are our first location for our spacecraft traveling arts project. And basically the weekend we were opening, everything closed for COVID. So you are our home for a very long time. And it was so gracious, and I'm so appreciative. I was talking to Deb, and she reminded me that the last time I was here was March for a presentation of the results of our focus group, where we had discovered together the brand promise, what people believed was the brand promise about Oldsmar, who our target market was, who, in other words, who we wanted to speak to about that brand promise, and then also the category. What kind of category was Oldsmar? For instance, we know you're not a car or toothpaste. What are you? So we answered those questions, and it was really delightful to be here because I was here for the swearing in, and we had a very large crowd, and the whole crowd of people got to hear what I'm just going to very quickly summarize for you tonight, because those three things, the promise, the target, and the category, were then used to develop some ideas for the logos. So the brand promise, Oldsmar, I'm going to read it off my phone because it's a little bit easier. It's a modern community that combines charm and a hometown feel. It's at the top of Tampa Bay, and it has welcoming neighborhoods, waterfront, parks and nature, arts and business, and intelligent and managed growth. So that's the brand promise, and I think Oldsmar stands up for that on a daily basis. So your target, like who do you want to really pay attention to Oldsmar, and who actually tells you that they care about Oldsmar? Well, digitally savvy couples and families, vibrant empty nesters, and this quote came out of the focus group, grandma hanging with the cool kids, day trippers, ecotourism, clean businesses. It's a city that gets it around sustainability. And then finally, what category is Oldsmar? And it's actually in a category by itself, we found from the focus group. It's a small city, of course, but it has the resources and vision to step boldly into the 21st century. It's connected also, but while it's doing that, it's connected to the Florida past. So it manages to walk this really wonderful line of connecting the future and the past, maintaining its charm, resilience, and sustainability. So those are great concepts, and as I said, it was really fun to present them because there was so much agreement in this room, and that's so nice when people are really feeling the love. The challenge is, how do you turn those high concepts into something that you can look at and see and feel? And so that was a lot of effort, a tremendous amount of effort by the marketing team. So they did a number of things. I'm going to see if I can go backwards. They looked at logos, other cities and communities around Oldsmar to see what they were doing. They looked at some of the key things about Oldsmar. So how is nature showing itself in Oldsmar? What kind of colors, what kind of feel do you feel when you see Oldsmar? Where do you interact with the water, and what does that look like? And so they looked at some really concrete things in the community, and from those concrete things, they developed some logo designs. So we had a number of designs. We invited everybody back who had been the original attendees for the focus group to come for a second focus group. They are the people, the first focus group are the people who developed the brand promise, the categories, and the target. We invited them back. And we asked them for some feedback on the ideas, the logos we presented. We said, what do you think? Keeping in mind the brand promise, the target audience, the category, and how do you respond to what you are seeing? And they gave us very, very detailed comments. And it was really clear that there was a very specific logo that rose to the top. And there is a video that you're going to see now that is going to introduce that top logo to you. So I'm going to step away for just a little while, and IT is going to put that logo up.
Welcome to Oldsmar, a modern community that combines charm and hometown feel with a commitment to a sustainable future. Located at the top of Tampa Bay, it's an inviting combination of welcoming neighborhoods, waterfront, parks and nature, arts and business, and intelligent and managed growth. Now that's a brand promise. This promise was developed by community members in collaboration with Creative Pinellas. After a year-long process, the city is excited to introduce its new logo design, which illustrates this promise of Oldsmar. First, the logo is inspired by the beautiful sunsets that illuminate the serene waters of Tampa Bay and the city's lush parklands. The rectangular shape represents Oldsmar's organized approach to growth and development, while the curved lines symbolize its forward-thinking progress. The vibrant colors and modern paper-cut design reflects the artistry and creativity that are woven into the fabric of our community. At the top of the logo, the orange color symbolizes the welcoming neighborhoods that make Oldsmar a friendly and inviting place to live. The second, lighter orange, conveys its youthful and energetic spirit, striving to create a dynamic and engaging community that embraces innovation and creativity. The third row of gold, showcasing a bright circle that represents the sun, anchors the breathtaking sunset, one of the many wonders that make Oldsmar a special place. The blue represents the surrounding tranquil waters of Tampa Bay, offering endless opportunities for water-based activities and ecotourism experiences. Finally, the bottom row of green represents Oldsmar's many parks and nature trails, the heart of the community, providing a peaceful escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Oldsmar welcomes young, digitally savvy residents and families, vibrant empty nesters, day trippers seeking ecotourism experiences, and clean businesses looking for a community that prioritizes a work-life balance in a sustainable environment. Come join us at the top of the bay in Oldsmar, where charm, warmth, and progress meet to create a modern community that truly cares about its future.
I was going to ask what you thought, but I think you've just told us what you think. So, any questions for me before I?
Any questions? No. I think it's wonderful.
I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. It's been a long time coming,
Yeah.
I think. And somehow, Mark, Deb, Barbara, you guys just, I'm speechless. You somehow managed to deliver, and that video is really beautiful. The drone spinning and showing us the water and the greenery in the downtown, and you just feel those words that our citizens came up with, that brand promise. It's beautiful. It's
Thank
really
you very
beautiful.
much, and thank you for trusting the process. I do have to tell you, the video is your marketing department, Deb, Mark, the team that they did the video. So I want to give them some of it.
Any other questions? Vice Mayor?
No questions. When I got a chance to see this a little earlier at first, I was like, I wasn't sure how to react, to be honest, but then like I guess my engineer mind was like, let's see how it looks in use. And Felicia started showing me what it would look like on a business card or the website, right. And then it really sunk in and set in. It's like, this pops, it looks good, definitely looks good in use beyond just that first splash from the video.
Yeah.
So thank you for your efforts.
Councilmember Graber, anybody else?
No, excellent job. Thank you so much. I thought it was amazing. When I saw it this morning, I almost blurted out a few things today to my wife. I'm like, I got to keep it under wraps. I got to make sure. As a company, my own company that we just recently went through a branding and the effort that goes into this and what we did for our own logo and this logo, I thought it was amazing. And when I saw it, I could almost see the story of what Oldsmar was and what you were trying to tell before the words even come out to talk about it. So it was very interesting. And shout out to everybody who's involved, all the citizens that got involved with this process, got involved with local government, designing our logo, designing our future, and I'm excited to see where we're going with this.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep. I just got to tell you that orange is my favorite color, so I love it. But when I was talking with Felicia today about it, I just feel that it's just a wonderful and it's inviting to the people. It's like the logo invites you into our city, and it kind of grabs you. And I really enjoy the whole concept of it. And I need a motion to approve first, right?
And I just had one more comment.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I just forgot to say something really important, and I know you'll appreciate this, Mayor. This logo, I'm not sure our residents understand. We saw some for other cities, right? So the city of Clearwater redid their logo 2-3 years ago or so at a cost of hundreds of thousands of dollars to their taxpayers. And Oldsmar, like we always do, we did it our way, right? We got local residents to come together for this year-long process. I know it was painful to come up with this promise and incorporate what they really believed and wanted to see. And then our incredibly talented staff and creative Pinellas, Barbara, you brought your expertise to this. And I mean, it's a cost savings, but also it's really authentic, right? It feels really authentic. It's not something that was generated from some company hundreds of thousands of miles away that says, here's some ideas we got for your city. You know, and I'm not sure that all of our residents know that lots of cities do this, but they just get a contract and hire it out for a couple $100,000 and then here's your logo. But this was done completely differently, and I wanted to make sure everybody kind of appreciated that. So
Thank you.
thank you.
The last thing is I lost my badge 2 weeks ago in Tallahassee, so I said to Felicia, can I get a new badge? She said, not till after the meeting.
Aw.
Okay, so you want to say something, Felicia?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Just one other thing, because I don't think he got recognition, but the voice of the video, John.
Oh, yeah, John.
All right.
Give Mayor
John.
Bevis a run for the money of the voice of Oldsmar. So,
He does.
He did good.
It's
He
like
did a
very
good job.
comforting.
things don't work out here in the city. You should keep looking into some radio gigs.
Well,
Right? Like how collaborative. Even John Daphne provided the voiceover for the video.
Oldsmar has a unique relationship with Creative Pinellas. I can't stress enough the home for spacecraft. It was our first. We were launched. I think it felt that same way of like, oh my gosh, everything is riding on this, and suddenly it all closed down. So I was very happy for Creative Pinellas to partner with Oldsmar on this project because of that very special relationship.
Thank you.
So I'm so happy that you're so happy.
All right, city manager?
So I would like to, the recommended motion would be to approve the new city logo design for official city use, authorize the city attorney to draft the resolution for such.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, and I have a special thanks to the CMA team. I want to say thank you to Deb, Mark, Barbara, and Joan. And I would like to recognize Barbara St. Clair, again, with a special gift from the city we would like to present to you.
Oh. Oh.
The first printing of the logo.
That would be cool.
First logo swag.
Copy of the old logo.
Oh, it is the new one.
Wow. The big one.
Ooh.
I hope it's great.
Need one for my office.
Right?
Oh,
Deb!
oh. Pulling out all the stops,
Wow.
huh? Ask and you shall receive. Read my mind. It's like, it needs to go in my office right over there. Thank you, Deb. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Wow. Fantastic.
This is
Just take 1 minute, Mark.
beautiful.
Mark.
Yes.
I love this. Thank you. Wonderful.
Let's do a
Yeah.
group picture.
Let's do a group picture.
Do a group
Yeah,
photo.
yeah.
We gotta
Yeah.
start the branding effort now.
All right, I have a motion and a second.
Stickers too.
All- we approved it? Did we already approve it?
Didn't we vote? We voted.
Yeah, okay. Next item on the agenda is item 15.
14.
Or 14. No. Oh, yeah, 14. Thank you.
Item number 14 is approve the MOU for the use of Everbridge for the provision of alert and mass notification services between the Florida Division of Emergency Management and the City of Oldsmar. The Florida Division of Emergency Management has executed a contract DEM D0003 RFQ-DEM-18-19-021 with Everbridge for the provision of statewide alert and mass notification services. FDEM is funding and providing the notification service at no cost to eligible subdivisions such as the City of Oldsmar for use by emergency management and public information personnel to transmit alerts, notifications, and other authorized public safety messaging. System will continue to be utilized by staff as part of the Alert Florida and Alert Pinellas initiatives to provide important information to internal stakeholders and the general public during emergency events. The agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney and staff recommends approval.
Okay, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Do we have anything on this? No? Any other discussion?
Sign up for Alert Pinellas.
We already did it, so I'm excited. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now item 15.
Item number 15, accept presentation of findings and recommendations from the classification and compensation study conducted by Evergreen Solutions, LLC, and authorize city staff to work with Evergreen on implementing the outcomes of the study. In September 2022, the city contracted with an outside consulting firm, Evergreen Solutions, to conduct a classification, compensation, and benefits study. The study was conducted to assist us in achieving internally equitable and externally competitive compensation, ensure positions classifications reflect the duties and responsibilities, and confirm that Oldsmar is competitive to our peer markets with salary and benefits offered. City staff may recommend a phased implementation approach depending on the final outcomes of the study. Before I introduce Rob Williamson, I'd like to thank Michelle Kutch for spearheading this effort. In coordination with Evergreen. Rob Williamson, the project manager for Evergreen, is here today to present an overview of the process, their findings and recommendations. Rob?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This is cool. I mean, this is really neat for me personally. When we were here for outreach, I told them that, I get the opportunity to work with clients, municipalities, counties, all over the United States, but it's rare that I have the opportunity to serve a municipality that's basically right where I was born. I was born in Tampa and I grew up 20 miles from here, and so this is kind of cool. And then the other part of it is I'm sitting here in this meeting, and I don't know if y'all feel it because you're immersed in it every day, but as someone who's not immersed in what you're doing here every day, you got something going on here. You have some momentum happening here. And this has been for someone who loves local government, this has been a great council meeting to sit in. I have to tell you. So I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be here with you, and we hope that what we're going to share with you today and the work that we've done with your team, who was amazing, by the way, we hope that it'll maybe be a small step in keeping that momentum going, right? So here we go. This started, we have study goals. We're going to go over the phases. The employee participation piece was phenomenal. Then we're going to talk a little bit about what you want to hear, which is, what are the numbers? How much is this going to cost me, right? So the study goals, as Felicia was saying, you know, we started with, we want to get to a place ultimately where we are creating a pay plan that's fair internally, but competitive externally. How do you measure up with your market? And in a hyper-competitive labor market like the one that we are living through, right, it's pretty important if you want to compete for talent. If you want to retain those high performers that you have, but you want to go out and recruit the next generation of talent to the city, you better get the money right. You better have your pay plan competitive. It needs to be internally equitable. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, but bottom line, you can just go to the last bullet. What we wanted to provide you was a fair and competitive pay plan to where you can compete in the marketplace. We had different phases that we went through. It started with that project kickoff call, and it has progressed where we analyzed everything that goes into what you do here for your pay plan. And then we went out to market and we compared you to market peers, and ultimately here we are with some implementation options and reporting to you the results of the study. I wanted to throw in a couple of slides about the employee participation piece, and we don't do this at every one of the jurisdictions that we work for, but I have to tell you, your participation from your employees was next level, the likes of which we don't see around the country in every one that we participate in. And I remember being right here and facing this direction and talking to some of the employees, and I told them very frankly, I said, don't lose the leverage that you have. Make sure that those elected officials know how important this is to you. And I said, one of the ways you can do that is with your participation, right? So we had focus groups, we had orientation sessions, and we had a job assessment tool survey, which gives employees an opportunity to tell us in their own words, what do they do in service to Oldsmar, right? Well, the participation was, as I said, next level. Classifications, the job titles that you have, 100% participation. We captured every single job title that you have here. 99.3% of employees, and Michelle wanted to remind me that really that should be 100%. There's like a little technicality there, so we'll just say it's 100%, all right? Yeah. That's the competitive side of it. And I have to tell you, the staff, every step along the way, they were asking difficult questions. They were challenging what we were putting forward, all because they wanted to make sure we got to the most defensible and best product for the employees and for the city. And this was clear evidence of it. Only 2 supervisor reviews incomplete out of all of them. It's extraordinary. We just don't see that very often. So when we were here for in-person outreach, we asked your employees about what's it like to work here. The idea is that when we get done with outreach, if you were to bump into me at Publix down the street and say, hey, what's it like to work at Oldsmar? After those focus group sessions and orientation sessions, I should be able to tell you what it's like, and you should walk away from that interaction saying, yeah, I think he has a pretty good idea of what it's like to work in Oldsmar right now. So the benefits that we heard about, that they thought that benefits were one of the main reasons that they came to work here. One of the main reasons maybe they stayed with the city. And one of the things that some of the folks highlighted was that the recent increases in employer contribution was viewed very favorably. And I want to pause a beat to tell you that right now I'm doing 36 different engagements in 9 different states. And I can tell you that this is becoming more and more of an issue in folks' employment decisions, is dependent care and employers' contribution to dependent care. Because look, it used to be in the public sector, right? We might not be on par with the private sector in salaries, but our benefits were going to be next level. And now the private sector is starting to close that gap. And if you want to continue the momentum you've got, then you need to make sure that you're continuing to look at things like that dependent care, employer contribution piece. The culture, I tell you, almost everybody commented about how they enjoy the people they work with, how it's like a family. And you could see that here tonight. And it's good to be a part of. It's good to be around it. And then, of course, a lot of folks, you know, I I grew up in this area. I know that location can impact your employment decision. You want to have a quality of life. You don't want to be spending 45 minutes a day in the car on the commute. So a lot of folks mention that location is important to them and they live either close to or in the city. External equity. Some of the concerns that we heard from folks were they were wondering that their starting pay didn't seem like it was measuring up, like some of the other neighboring municipalities might be paying more. And one of the common questions we received is, how are you going to compare me to market, meaning my job title to market? So I wanted to just touch on that quickly. We did that in a number of different ways. It started with that orientation. We got questions in orientation about it that we answered. Then it went to the focus groups, and we heard from employees saying, my position isn't exactly like a position that you might see at a neighboring city or at one of the counties nearby. Then we looked at the job assessment tool survey. As I said, that's where the employees told us in their own words what it was that they do here. We had the job descriptions. We had your project team. Then the market peers, when we surveyed them, we asked them to match up the classifications as well, based on what the roles and responsibilities were that they have for their class titles. And then we had ultimately the market response. So there was numerous ways that we tried our best to make sure that a classification here was best observed to market, to where we can get to that competitive pay plan piece. The internal equity, some employees shared concern about wage compression. We didn't necessarily see a lot of wage compression from the assessment of current conditions we did when we analyzed the pay plan. Basically, you've got a little bit more than 50% of your employees are in that first quartile. So that does show that you've had to hire some employees in maybe at higher than the minimum range, but that's what the market would dictate now anyway. Benefits, here again, some employees, benefits are important to them, and some of the employees had mentioned that, look, if I get a raise, and we hear this all over the country, so I don't want you to think this is unique to Oldsmar, that if I get a raise of 3% and insurance goes up 5%, then it doesn't feel like I'm moving ahead, right? So the benefits piece, we had 10 target market peers that we received data from, and I have to tell you, when looking at the overall of the benefits piece, you're very competitive. And when I say very competitive, I mean that you're either at or ahead of your market peers. So I feel like your offerings for benefits are competitive. And the significant factor that we're seeing, as I mentioned earlier, is that employee contribution. And so the recent increases that you've had in the employer contribution, I should say, is an important piece, but you are still slightly behind the market. So you want to make sure that you're looking at that this year and in subsequent years to see if you can make incremental progress or continue making incremental progress and getting that employer contribution up, especially on the dependent care side. You don't want that to serve as a differentiator between you and those you're competing against. Benefits, just a couple of recommendations for the council to consider. Basically, holidays, I feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck here. And what I mean by that is, if you don't want to have differentiators between you and your competition. So right now, I think you have 11 holidays. Your competition or your market peers that we surveyed, they're at 11.5 on average. And there's one that you didn't have as a holiday, which is Veterans Day. We're asking you to consider adding that. And feel like when you have a staff that is wearing a lot of hats, right, and they're doing a lot of different roles, any time that you can give them time off that doesn't feel like it puts them farther behind. So your constituents, your citizens might not be coming in to get services on Veterans Day. So my comments there with the minimal impact and cost to citizens with added benefits to employees, I feel as though you probably don't have a lot of folks coming down requesting services on Veterans Day anyway. So it's an opportunity for you to meet or exceed the market, and it doesn't really cost you a whole lot. Standby pay was an area that you should definitely consider. You have a couple of municipalities that are larger here in the area that are offering standby pay, which I would say, if I was making a decision as a former CEO of a utility provider, you don't want to have standby pay be something that you lose talent for, okay? So you want to make sure if folks are working standby that you are considering providing some kind of stipend that at least allows them to make their employment decisions on a level playing field. Not that the city of Tampa or somewhere else might be offering $450 and you're not offering anything for standby pay. So just something for you to consider, and we brought that recommendation forward. The market summary piece, this is that external equity piece. How are we comparing you, and who are we comparing you to? We really got some great responses back. We felt like the market salary survey was, we got some really good data, and we feel like it's very defensible data. We received data. We went out to market for 20 peers. We got 12 responses back from that, and the ones in bold are the ones that we received data back from. We average all of those together, and we adjust for cost of living. And I apologize, this slide is, it's going to be tough to see, I know, but bottom line, I can net it out for you. At the minimum, the city is slightly behind the market at that starting salary range at about 2.7%. At the midpoint, which is a very important factor to consider when you're evaluating the market, because by the time an employee moves to the middle of their range, they should have some experience. They should have some tenure. So that's a really good position to look at when you're looking at a market average to see, okay, how do we measure up at the midpoint? And you're right there at, 8.5%, 8.6% behind the market. So that's not, if you're able to implement what is recommended, you're going to be able to immediately correct that and be in a market competitive position, and you'll be able to solve for any wage compression you might have. It will immediately make you competitive in the market. You can see that we blew up the totals a little bit there at the bottom, so you can see at the minimum, midpoint, and maximum where the city is compared to the market. And believe me, around the country, we've seen a lot worse. I did a presentation a week ago where the minimum, they were almost 18% behind market. Okay, so it's definitely moving. Recommendations that we have for you, we reduced the number of pay grades that you have in your pay plan by a pretty significant amount. We tried to make it simpler. We tried to streamline it a bit. We tried to modernize it a bit. All of this in the help with staff. We had steps along the way that we would have some very heated conversations about which direction things should go in, and it ultimately resulted in, we feel good about these consistent range spreads between the minimum and the maximum of 55%, starting minimum of 15 an hour. You're already pretty much there anyway, but we know that the state statute that's going to require a $15 an hour minimum wage, there's another piece with it that is there's going to be increases that are going to be a part of that every subsequent year. So it's good that you would get out ahead of that. We reassign positions to into the pay plan based on their classification title, based on those pay ranges. And then ultimately we ask that you select an implementation methodology that basically you can afford, right? Because there's a price tag associated with that. So let's get to that. Let's see if this thing's going to advance. All right, there we go. So these are the implementation options that we feel are, really there's one, the class parity option that we feel is the best option. Bring to minimum, the cost you see there, this is base salary adjusted for cost of living, okay? So the $219,567 cost that you see for bring to minimum, that just brings employees into the minimum of the pay plan. That just basically gets them into the plan. That would place them at the minimum of the range in their new recommended pay grade. And you should know that the class parity option that I'll talk about next, that $219 minimum, bring to minimum, that $219 cost is included in the $446, not in addition to, okay? So that $446 cost, the class parity says if we have a 30-year career, okay, let's say I've been working here in the city in the same job for 15 years. We would move that employee to the midpoint of the pay range, okay? So basically we're moving employees into their recommended pay grade based on their years in their current classification, in their current job title. So if I've been here 15 years in the same job title, I'm going to be moved to the midpoint of the range. If I've been here 5 years in that same job title, I'm going to be more toward the beginning of the range. It allows you to separate employees based on years of service, based on the years that they've been in their current job title. So any wage compression that you may have had where you had somebody that they got hired in the same job title and you had to pay them $16 an hour to get them in the door because the market's red hot and they've got the same job title as somebody else that's been here 4 years and they're making $16 an hour or 16 and a quarter. that's going to cause some morale issues, right? Where you're thinking, man, I've been here 3 years and I'm making the same amount of money that somebody that just walked in the door. Well, this allows us to create that healthy separation based on the years that they've spent in their current job title. It solves for that wage compression. And the market piece solves for putting them competitively to market. Basically, this transforms where Oldsmar is from a pay plan standpoint. And it makes you immediately competitive to market, and it provides you a fair way to place employees into the program or into the pay plan. As long as you maintain a cost of living adjustment annually, as long as you're working on your performance evaluation system to move employees each year in their respective pay grade, you should be able to stay competitive with market. So next steps, you're going to need to communicate and implement the salary adjustments if that's the will of the council. Then you're going to need to communicate and implement any benefits recommendations if you choose to implement those that have been brought forward. The last step for us is to provide a final and draft report in May, but before we get to that, we will be updating your job descriptions. So once we finalize these classification titles and any job title changes we might have, then we have to create legally compliant job descriptions for every classification title you have here in the city. And that is pretty much it.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions?
I feel like I have a lot.
Mayor, thank you. On the standby, maybe it's a question for staff, but how often do we use that? And how many employees would go on to a standby status, or is that?
Felicia?
Cindy, can you answer that question now, or is that possible? Do you know offhand? I can get you the exact figure.
Okay. The other question I have, if you back up one slide for me, you've got a $220,000 to $450,000 increase here. When we look at the class parity, I'm wondering that $450,000, how does that equate to our current attrition costs that we're currently experiencing? So our cost to hire, fire, retain, knowledgeability, all the things that we're dealing with, have we looked at that over the past year and what that attrition cost is, and how would that compare to this increase?
It's not a deliverable as part of this engagement, but you are very wise to bring that up, because that is oftentimes what a lot of leadership does not consider is the cost of that churn, the cost of that turnover, and it's real. And typically, you're looking at 1.5 times the annual salary is what it costs you to replace it. And that doesn't take into account the lost opportunity costs of that employee that's there, that's a long tenured employee that needs to continue to train the new one. And what that does to morale when they know that this person's going to come in, that we just hired, we're going to get them trained up, and they're going to go down the road for another, $2 an hour as soon as they get their certification. Or sometimes it's not even $2 an hour.
Right.
And that can drag on morale. I tell you, I'd much rather make this investment than I would that continued investment in the churn of turnover or overtime that you're paying.
And you said that churn rate was how much?
Usually it's 1.5 times the annual salary.
1.5? Okay. Thank you.
Councilmember Graber, any questions?
No, the way that it was set out, the class parity, I understood. Now, in terms of recruitment, so say I work in a neighboring city for 15 years and I come in at that 15-year level, that wouldn't be static. That'd be a decision, I'm guessing, from the city in terms of how that would be done. But that's where, in terms of recruitment, that's what we would want to see. I guess it's just the one thing that pointed out to me there. In terms of just clarification, and this may be for Felicia, and Rob, thank you for your presentation. There's a lot of information to take in. The recommended motion is to accept the presentation and the findings, but it seems like there's options here. Do we have to discuss those tonight, or is that a city staff? We're voting on whether or not to accept the information that Rob presented, and then staff will take it from there. I just want to be clear so I know where we're heading on this.
I would like direction on to what option that you would prefer, that bring to a minimum or the class parity, and then we'll prepare the follow-up steps based on that.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, that's what I'm just.
Because I think essentially it's like Felicia needs direction so that we can implement this as soon as possible. It's not like we're waiting for next budget year or anything like that. It's, these are the findings. How soon do we act, and in what manner do we act?
Right, for sure. I just want to, make sure that that was clear in my own head as to what we are discussing tonight, and we are all on the same page that way.
Sure.
Councilmember Gannon, any questions?
I do have questions, but they're sort of at a micro level. At a macro level, I don't have any questions. I understand it. I think, it's of course like a little bit of sticker shock, but at the same time, learning that this 8.6% is actually not that bad, in your words to paraphrase, is a little bit comforting. When you say number of employees adjusted on this particular chart, you're saying approximately 109 employees would have a pay adjustment and a grade adjustment, or not necessarily a grade adjustment, it's a definite for the pay adjustment?
Yeah, that's a great question, because the pay plan is built, the proposed pay plan is built off of individual classifications, individual job titles, right? So we slot those classification titles into the pay plan by numeric pay grades. Then we have to slot the employees that occupy those job titles into the plan, and we have to put them into the range. Are they going to go in at the beginning of the range, middle, and where are they going to go? And so we slot them where they're going to go based on the time that they've been and their current job title. So if, for example, I have been working here 5 years, but my current salary is ahead of where the slotting would place me, in other words, I'm already making more than what the methodology would say I should make, then there's no reduction, there's just no adjustment. So that's why you have 109 of 145, 146 employees, somewhere in there. Not everyone is scheduled for an adjustment, because some of the employees here are already paid above market, or might not be recommended once they're placed into the plan. They might be paid ahead of where they should be in the range, so no adjustment would be given. As far as will all 109 employees be put into a new grade? Every single employee is going to be put into a new grade,
the grades are
because we
different.
changed
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
But it's it's more important to look at it. Employees will be placed into new ranges. You know, they'll have new minimum and maximum ranges that they'll be placed into, and those new minimum and maximum ranges that they're placed into are competitive to market. So let's say an administrative assistant in your market gets paid between 35 and 55. If you were paying 30 to 45, we're going to now change that, and then they have to be moved into it to account for that change.
Let's say I've been working for the city for, 5 years, and, Safety Harbor has a similar position, and, they're paying $1 more or $1 less, and I'm not affected by that. Is that possible? So, in other words, if somebody's been working here for a period of time and we hired them at the right rate, and it's possible that based on this, they could still be at the right rate based on the market around us. Is that correct? So, in other words, they don't necessarily need to be adjusted because they were brought in being paid what the market will bear.
Yeah, especially recently, a lot of times new hires in a market that's moving as quick as this one, for you to fill an open position, you have to pay higher than what your published pay ranges are.
Right.
So then when you move your pay ranges to be market competitive, that you find that person that you hired was hired in at a market competitive rate. So they might not be recommended for an adjustment.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes, that does answer my question. Okay.
You good? All right, thank you, Rob. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for your presentation. Like Councilmember Graber said, it's a lot to take in. But I do have a couple questions. For bring the minimum or class parity, in your experience, when you're dealing with other municipalities, because you said you do this all over the country, what do you think the majority picks for that? Where do they go?
Putting you on the spot, Rob.
Well, what I would say is, when I sat where you sit as an elected official, the bring to minimum looks good, right? I mean, that's the lower priced option, but it is fool's gold. Okay, the bring to minimum does not solve for any wage compression whatsoever. The bring to minimum does nothing but put employees into the plan, and you know, there are some fiscally constrained cities and counties that we deal with where it moves the needle for them just to be able to bring them to the minimum. And I would have a different response to those, and I have had a different response to those municipalities. I don't know what the fiscal standings are here, but to get to where it looks like you want to get to, in this market especially, I mean, Tampa is, you know, one of the highest rental rates in the state. It is a rapidly increasing labor market. It is a hyper-competitive labor market on par with Austin, on par with Raleigh, on par with Metro Atlanta area. If you want to compete for talent, you've got to make an investment in that. So my recommendation would be class parity, because you get a lot of bang for your buck there. You're able to solve for wage compression on the basis of the time that somebody's worked in their current job title. You're valuing that time, but you're also making it market competitive. And so to be able to solve both of those with one implementation, and you're talking about, you know, 6% of payroll, that's a pretty good win.
Got another comment. At the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned a lot of things about the city staff. You mentioned I could feel your emotion about how you feel about our city, and I felt that, and I want to thank you for that, because I think that kicked off your presentation for the council and gave us a good vibe of your homework that you did for the employees of our city. I think that's really important. Personally, I think our employees of this city are the biggest asset that we could ever have. When I travel the city and I talk to the employees, they come up to me and they talk to me. They are our gold. They keep our city alive, and we have a lot of special employees. So I just wanted to thank you for that feeling you gave me. Thank you so much. All right, so I guess next we need a motion to approve which one we want to do here.
I make a motion to accept the presentations and findings, recommendations of the classification and compensation study conducted by Evergreen Solutions LLC, and authorize city staff to work with Evergreen on implementing the class parity plan.
I need a second.
Second.
Any other discussion on that?
Mayor,
Okay,
real
yes.
quickly, I did some just back of the napkin math, looking at the 10 positions we have open using your 1.5 times. We're currently spending $526,000 now on our churn cost, just on these 10 positions.
I'd say that'd be on the low end.
So to me, the 446 makes complete sense. So.
Yep, Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. From the private side of things, I just experienced this process at the end of last year. And to Councilmember Gannon's point, kind of asking about where those people come into play, you definitely do see it as you have new hires. It's going to naturally drive the gap because of the market dictating it. They're not going to accept an offer if it's not right for their conditions. So if the market is changing, we either have a choice to stay stagnant or ride with the market. So it wasn't even a question at work to be bringing people into minimums. It was, we had a condensing of tiers or grades, and it was the same thing. Tenure came into a factor, and it really went over well. It was a long process, as I'm sure this has been here. So I think without question, at least from my perspective, class parity is the way to go.
Excellent. Councilmember Gannon?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, to me, the class parity is the only option. It's absolutely unfair to staff that gets compressed, and it's really not fair to kind of do it twice, right? Because if we bring ourselves to a minimum, we're going to be doing this again very shortly.
We should be doing it anyways.
We should be doing it anyways. And the two components, right, bring to a minimum, well, that will help us bring in new talent, right? But then the class parity helps us keep the talent that we already have, and not one meeting goes by where we're not applauding our staff for something that they've all done lately. I mean, every single day. Like you said, Mayor, the staff are incredible. You know, we don't do them anymore at council meetings because staff are sometimes, you know, reluctant to stay late and come to a council meeting to get us a number of years service award, and they'd rather go get it at City Hall. But I mean, how many cities have people who've been working there for, you know, 10, 15, 20, 25 years who are actually retiring, working for the city? I mean, I know we have, you know, Florida retirement system and pension employees, I get that, but still, no question, has to be class parity. And I think we need to continue to examine this on a regular basis so that we don't end up, you know, in a worse sideways financial situation, like water sewer rate sideways financial situation. And same thing with the benefits issue. To me, I didn't know when it was brought up last year when we talked about adding the employer contribution to dependent care. You know, I know not everybody is a parent, but for most of us, I'm sure up here, if you're not contributing to my kids' medical care costs, like, and another company is, it's no question. You're not even in the running anymore. So I think we need to continue to examine that. It was mentioned that we're still behind market a little bit there. And I'm just speaking for myself. I guess our employees express that concern, but to me, that's like a deal breaker to me. If one contributes more, if it's cheaper, then any raise you're giving me for cost of living, like it was said, it's offset by the healthcare cost. So if in addition to that, you're not contributing to my dependent care, it's a no-go. So I think we need to continue to look at this. I feel like, you know, I don't know how long, Mayor, maybe you can speak to the last time this kind of thing was done. You've been on council.
I don't remember us doing this.
Longer than any of us, but this hasn't been done, and we need to pay better attention to it.
Right, I agree. All right, any other comments?
Just, I mean, just on the paper itself, with the bring to minimum, it's 69 employees who are adjusted, and then that goes up by 40 additional employees. I mean, we always do speak highly of the employees, but the amount of impact that will have on everyone, getting that number over 100 is something that I'd like to see. But that was it, Mayor.
Thank you. Last comment. The one thing I really appreciate you did was the weekend warriors, I call them. You know, they're on call. And giving them that extra bonus, I think that's going to go a long way for morale with our staff, because that is one thing that I had a water leak, and on Sunday morning they were at my house. So that is a great benefit for the employees. So
I wish I could take credit for it, Mr. Mayor, but that was your project leadership team, your staff, identifying that was something they were seeing that was a consistent issue. They had to specifically take a look at it, and they were right.
that makes me happy. All right.
Good.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much. Rob,
you.
thanks for all your hard work. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very thorough.
On the agenda is our city clerk.
Yes, item 16, authorize the city attorney to draft an ordinance to set the March municipal election date for March 19th, 2024. The presidential preference primary is set by Florida statutes for the third Tuesday of the month, which is March 19th, 2024. The city charter requires the city of Oldsmar to hold its election on the second Tuesday in March. This requirement conflicts with the election date given by the supervisor of elections. Florida Statute 101.75 provides the governing body of a municipality may, by ordinance, move the date of any municipal election for cause. Recognizing the importance of the supervisor of elections' support for our municipal elections, I recommend adopting an ordinance setting the election date for March 19th, 2024. Changing the election date does not affect the qualifying period dates, as they are set based on the adoption of the final ballot language resolution.
Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this? All right, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 17.
Item 17, authorize the city attorney to draft a resolution to set the qualifying dates for the March 19th, 2024 municipal election and to set the date for adopting the final ballot language. Article 6 of the city charter states that the qualification period dates will be set based on the date council adopts the final ballot language. The language is due to the supervisor of elections on December 31st, 2023, and council traditionally cancels its second meeting in December. I recommend final ballot language adoption be set for December 5th, 2023, and for the qualifying period for the March 19th, 2024 municipal election to begin October 17th, 2023, and end on November 17th, 2023.
All right, thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion on this item? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 18.
Item 18, schedule shade meeting and out of the sunshine meeting regarding BMX litigation at the State Street Center, 127 State Street, West Oldsmar. I will turn this item over to City Attorney Tom Trask.
Mayor, pursuant to Florida Statute 286.01, subparagraph 8, the city attorney's office is asking for a shade meeting to be scheduled for settlement negotiations or strategy sessions related to the litigation in the style of City of Oldsmar versus Tampa Bay Construction and Engineering, Inc. This is the BMX litigation that you're aware of. We want to speak to you relative to possibly making a proposal for settlement. And that is obviously a settlement negotiation, and so we're asking for a meeting to be set at 5:30 p.m. There's 3 dates that are being suggested, and we're asking that if one of those 3 would be acceptable, that we'll go ahead and schedule it.
Okay. Felicia, did you have a date?
It looks like May 2nd. May 2nd is the date that will work for everyone.
Okay, everyone good? I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I got a motion. How about a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor for Tuesday, May 2nd, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is council comments, and we're going to start today with Vice Mayor Knapp.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. Flip over to my notes. Had a little bit of sad news as it relates to businesses in Oldsmar, but also some good news. So the sad news, Earth Fair, as many of you all know, is closing. Has it closed now? Officially, it has closed?
Yeah.
So after speaking with the city manager earlier today, it sounds like there is definitely interest from other parties out there, and so we will see what happens. I don't know anything more than what she knows at this point, so we'll just have to wait and see from the development perspective. But in the good news category of businesses, again, kind of sad, Daddy's Grill is no longer with us here in Oldsmar, but we will have a Village Inn to replace it in the coming weeks. We shall see. And then over the weekend, I got a chance, just found out about it through coworkers, that there is a new pickleball facility opening at the flea market. I stopped by there on Saturday and got a chance to speak with the owners, and they are doing all that they can to get ready and get out there and have it open. It's going to be air conditioning, 6 courts, snacks, drinks, social mixers on the weekend. So really looking forward to it. Obviously, with the summer months coming up ahead of us, it will be a challenge to be out at our courts here in the city mid-afternoon and into the early hours of the evening. So it'll be a nice alternative. The last thing I wanted to touch on was last week, as part of Leadership Pinellas's North County Day, we got to host the group over at Microlumen, and I wanted to give a special thank you to City Manager Donnelly, as well as her executive assistant, who had a chance to stop by and talk about infrastructure and how it relates to our business community here, especially our industrial areas, and the impacts that it has on our tax base. I think the reception from the group was rather well, as far as what they got a chance to hear from Felicia, as well as myself, and what we do over at Microlumen. So yeah, it was a great time. Barbara St. Clair is part of the 2023 class. Their nickname is TNT, Tame and Tardy. They weren't tardy, though, to microlim, and they were about 20 minutes early. And I was still scrambling to set up the room to host them. So, but yeah, it was absolutely great to be able to host them there. And we look forward, hopefully that sets a precedent in the future to be a fixture of North Pinellas Day. So thank you for organizing that and offering it up to us, Councilmember Gannon. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right,
Thank you.
since you brought up restaurants, did we find out what was going in Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell?
I've heard like Greek style restaurant or something, but
Don't know? Greek, okay.
speculation at
All
best,
right,
I'm
all
sure.
right. Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Next is Councilmember Graver.
Thank you, Mayor. I also just have a couple of things. It was really good to see, I know they're always so nervous when they come to see us, but the kids. And then the second time they did it and just all nailing their moves. It was awesome. So I'm really excited about that show, 8 o'clock on Saturday. I know Chip is crossing his fingers movie in the park, but it's at Veterans Park, right? So just make sure everybody knows that. Just a lot of events, they're starting to come up. It's good to see the Spray Park up and going. That place is just crowded. I know you guys all know that I live down the street from there, so you just see the cars on the weekends. I know there's birthday parties that are coming through on the weekends and stuff like that, so it's good to see everybody just kind of out and about right before it starts to get really, really hot, as Vice Mayor Knapp had just said. And just a quick thing to my parents, on the 25th, they will celebrate their 53rd wedding anniversary, so happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next, Councilmember Gannon.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor Knapp kind of summarized it already, but I just wanted to thank Vice Mayor Knapp and Felicia Donnelly and her assistant, and also Mike Lumen for having the class of 2023 for Leadership Pinellas come and visit our beautiful city and kind of do it in a bit of a different way. You know, the class kind of gets tired of going from like city to city to city and just hearing like, we have a council manager form of government. Here is our council chambers. Like, I was like, how about we take them somewhere cool, right? And generally the feedback was, whoa, that's in Oldsmar? Like,
Yeah, I think I got 10 inquiries for who's our architect.
right? Right? And that's fantastic, right? Because the people who are participating generally in Leadership Pinellas are up and coming leaders, you know, bright talent, you know, folks who have connections to employees potentially, and getting that information out there about what our city has to offer in that particular way is really important. And I was just really grateful to you guys for stepping up, and please thank the folks at Microlumen for me as well. So, not to like piggyback on the whole business thing, but I heard, I heard that in Washington Square, where Jimmy John's used to be, it's going to be a pizza place.
I saw the sign.
True story. Okay, and also in
For
the
pizza.
Galleria, there's going to be a new coffee place.
That's not the same as the Cava and Pizza place?
Different place,
different
another
business, okay.
window down, so you can get your cava or your coffee, whatever suits, floats your boat. In any event,
Is
you
it
know,
Starbucks?
no,
Let's just see what pops up, maybe.
no.
Yeah, let's just wait and
Yeah.
see.
Yes.
See. But it would be nice to see, you know, more going in the gallery and businesses, you know, come and go, but it's always nice to see something new, something interesting for our citizens. So that's all I have tonight.
All
Thank you
right.
guys again so much for your help with North Pinellas Day.
Great job, guys. Thank you so much. Councilmember Buckman.
Thank you, Mayor. To go back to the pizza place, yes, it is going to be a pizza place. I had a chance to meet the owner over there. My understanding, he's going to try and extend the deck out to the left-hand side. He's been talking to the city about that, so excited about that. He's actually been around for a while. He left the area during
How is it
COVID.
extended into the right of way?
I have no idea. I'm not going to get into what.
Speculation again.
He's telling-
Excuse me, Chico, can we put a deck under the power lines?
But we were actually up in West Chase, closed down, and they're reopening down here during COVID. So
Oh, wow.
excited to see a pizza place going in there. I recently had the chance to attend the Metropolitan Planning Organization Conference for Forward Pinellas over in Orlando. It is amazing to understand the history of transportation, how it infects, and looking at all different aspects of it, specifically the funded part of it and how it's funded and where those funds come from. It was really interesting to see that. I'm waiting on a PowerPoint that I can show with the clerk that she can disseminate to everybody to send that out to you as well. Next weekend, I'll be going to EMO 2. That's in Orlando as well, so a little bit of travel there. That should be a fun class. I'm excited. I've heard great things about that as well. Excited about Mary Poppins. I know my daughter is at MPA's in Lakeland right now, and she'll be in Mary Poppins as well, so she wasn't able to attend tonight. And then Vice Mayor Knapp kind of took my story a little bit, but 21 years ago, I met my wife as the second or third date of the evening. We still haven't got the story straight yet, which is why she said we got to meet at Village Inn for coffee and tea. So to see a Village Inn coming to Oldsmar is kind of sentimental to us, and we're excited to see that and see the
Plus
Village
French silk pie.
Inn. French silk
All
pie.
the pies,
Right.
All the pies.
French silk pie. Right.
And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I just have a couple things. I attended Sunset Sounds 2 weeks ago, and Chip, I just want to say that band was incredible. Great job. It was a perfect night, beautiful sunset, just like our new logo. I also attended the Oldsmar Cup. I picked the winner. The winner.
I saw that.
I couldn't believe it. It's like the third time in Oldsmar Cup history I picked the winner. And the odds were 15-1. I only put $3, but I won 96. Ooh. I was going to put 20 down, and I said, nah, I'm not going to do it. But it was a great event. Margot Flynn does a great job with the Oldsmar Cup for the city of Oldsmar, and I thanked her immensely for all she does for our city with that event. And I hope next year, unfortunately, it was on Easter Sunday weekend, so it kind of messed everything up, but I hope next year we can get more of you guys out there for the Cup. I also attended on Wednesday, I attended the agency awards ceremony for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department, and I'm glad I went because I had an opportunity to talk to Sheriff Bob Gualtieri, and that was the day we were in the paper, so it went really well, and got an opportunity to tell him how much we appreciate the Sheriff's Department for what they do here in Oldsmar, and I just want to thank you, kudos to you guys out there. Thank you so much. I also went over Saturday morning to Chalk in the Park. It was a huge event. It was great. Tons of kids, chalk everywhere. Wonderful event. I want to thank the city staff for putting that together too every year. It's a wonderful event for the families of our city. Also want to shout out, we had our East Lake Oaks block party. The brochure said 10 years, but I figured out it's really 13 years we've done this for the community. We had Amici's gave tons of pasta. They fed all the neighbors. We had Tijuana Flats. They've been there every year. They served countless tacos. They didn't even run out. They ran out for a little bit, and they went and got to the shop and got more food to feed the neighbors. And then we had the new Italian restaurant. They had pizza with an oven, Mandola's. So Mandola's brought their pizza oven, and they made 60 pizzas, and they brought 20 extra, thank God, because we went through 80 pizzas for feed the whole neighborhood. The fire department came out. We had Pinellas County Sheriff's with the armored vehicle there. We had a water slide for the kids. And I want to do a special shout out to my HOA board members. They do a great job. Philip, Scott, Nicole, and a special thank you to Sarah George. They're just amazing people, and I'm just blessed to have them. Last but least, I just want to thank the marketing team for their hard work on that new logo. I absolutely love it. I think it's wonderful. All the people involved in that process over the year, great job. And then just thank you to the city staff for all you do for us. It's wonderful that you guys do such a great job. And with that, that's all I have. And next we have approve the tentative agenda for May 2nd. Does anybody wish to pull or add anything to the agenda? Nothing? All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Great meeting. Adjourned.